Welcome to Snetterton, welcome to SimSpeed, welcome to Club Day Masters Round 2 for this Season 5. Two interesting and probably action-packed races ahead of us here on SimSpeed. Of course, Snetterton 300, the full layout, relatively recently expanded actually, because I remember back in the good old days of Toka on PlayStation 2, the layout was a little smaller than this, but they've expanded it, they've updated it for all sorts of racing. And here on iRacing, we're able to bring Club Day Masters here. I'm David Haynes, I've got Cam Dance with me, we've got Jay Kennedy producing. Well, Cam, it looks like, despite the extended layout of Snetterton, it's probably going to be a bit of chaos this evening.
Oh yeah, there's every chance it's going to be a little bit of chaos, but hopefully not. Hopefully we're going to see a very, very good night of racing. We saw some action at Phillip Island. It was absolutely crazy with the amount of battling and everything that we saw. So hopefully it translates over to Snetterton tonight and see what we're going to see in terms of racing.
Of course, on your screen right now, everyone who brings Club Day Masters to you. And my goodness, is there more than there was in Season 4, but of course, particularly Digital Marketing Tribe and others there. Tonight actually brought to you by Automotive Towing South Australia on the bottom, the centre there. They're our primary sponsor for this Round 2 Snetterton round. So it's been a long while since I've been to South Australia. I don't know if the other fellas with me have been, but if I ever needed towed, boom, there it is. Automotive Towing South Australia. We are into qualifying right now. During the race, all of our drivers will be hoping that they don't need to be towed, but in qualifying, I don't know, maybe we might see a little bit of it, Cam.
Yeah, there's every chance we might see a few end up being towed back to pit lane and back into the paddock with the possible incidents and everything. So hopefully we don't see too many of those, but nevertheless, it's a possibility that may or may not happen. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly qualifying on at the moment, and it's like it's pretty close field at the moment for those who have set times at the moment. Jack Boyd a little bit ahead, or not too much ahead, of Damon Woods at the moment.
Yeah, there we go. Best time at the moment, 2 minutes 7, but with a track temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, probably the warmest it's been in the UK in a long, long time. It's still cold by my standards. Would definitely expect a couple laps for these TCR cars to warm up their tyres, bring those slicks in properly.
Probably going to start seeing some representative lap times this time around. Obviously, the start-finish line also before pit exit, or just around where pit exit is. So you're going to find that a lot of drivers are going to be setting at times before they've actually set representative laps, and Jack Boyd improving to a 1 minute 58.9, so a much more representative lap time. Vartanian goes second, Vanticiato third, with DeBono fourth at the moment. So everybody's starting to set some pretty decent times, and it's reasonably close from fourth on back.
Gosh, I worry now we're getting into this session here more that the TCR cars and the MX-5s are not going to mix quite so well in qualifying than they did on the first flying lap. So that first proper flying lap from Jack Boyd, where he was relatively clear of traffic, could end up being super, super important.
Yeah, certainly traffic going to play quite a factor in possibly qualifying and definitely the race, that's for sure, with the fact that it's going to be quite a little bit longer than a 15-minute session. So we'll see what traffic's going to be like around this tight and twisty Snetterton circuit. Certainly no real major opportunities to pass around this sort of track, so you might find a few drivers getting held up, unfortunately, and probably getting a little bit frustrated as a result. But on board with Mario Vartanian as he comes down the back straight down towards the back end of the circuit, just under the bridge. We're heading into probably one of the tightest, if not the toughest corner on the circuit, with that massive anti-cut on the inside, before heading down towards a bomb hole and using all the track he possibly can to try and wring the living life out of these tyres and out of this TCR car as it comes through the final corner, trying to hold the inside as best as he can, but also trying to use as much throttle possible without causing too much understeer. He uses all the track on exit of the final corner. It's looking like it's going to be a reasonably good lap as he comes down at the start finish line, comes across the line, and it's going to be a minute 59.063. So improves but doesn't move in position wise.
Yeah, the corner that stands out to me the most is the bomb hole for one reason. You've got to be very, very careful pronouncing it. The other, we're at a track that, as a former airfield, is very, very flat, with the exception of that corner where you can really hook the camber on the apex. The track drops away a goodly amount, and it reminds me a bit of Tower Bend at Sebring. Sebring is well and truly burned into my mind lately, but they're both sort of right-handers where the precision is super, super important, because if you're half a car width wide, you don't get that advantage of the camber, of the elevation. If you're half a car width too aggressive, you're going to cause yourself some troubles there. So that's an important and interesting corner to note around this track.
Yeah, it's certainly one of those more important corners, and if you do get it wrong, you end up in a lot of strife as a result. So certainly is a track that rewards commitment and certainly rewards precision as well, rather than just throwing caution to the wind and getting away scot-free, especially with the fact that you've got grass everywhere around the track and guardrails as well, so you can't really be too aggressive and with the off tracks and everything, or you might find yourself out in the weeds and possibly in the fields as well, that line at this circuit.
Marlon Fraser's going to demonstrate precisely how aggressive some of those anti-curbs are. Tell me how to get to Sesame Street, apparently. Now, he's got one of the Boyds there behind him. That's what we're talking about, the traffic. Then this very, very long loaded right-hand corner might actually be one of the places an MX-5 can almost keep up with a TCR car in a straight line. The turbocharger for the TCR cars does them a lot of favors.
He's helping provide a little bit more extra power, but the MX-5 are not too shabby on the handling departments, so it's able to keep up with TCR, especially through the technical sessions, through the likes of those last few corners and the back end of the circuit before you head towards the back straight. So going to be interesting to see how the dynamic of these two cars is going to play out around this circuit. But certainly we've got a few guests here tonight as well joining us on Zoom. You've got a few of us deciding to make a cameo appearance by the looks of it.
Yeah, on the right-hand side is Goatee Fanatics, it seems. And on the left-hand side, I definitely recognise Isaac Edwards there. Who's in the top left?
Jay did actually tell me, and I've already forgotten.
Jay?
Angus Cook, there you go.
Angus Cook, apparently. There we go. 4 drivers, and you can see that their focus is very, very severe in qualifying. Trying to make sure that they position themselves precisely for peak performance, but also looking at that relative box, looking around to make sure they don't get in the way of anyone else or find a stumbling block in the road of a slightly slower car. Here's an example of a TCR car. Didn't compromise the lap very, very early in turn 1 to make sure they get clear of that beautiful Doge machine.
Certainly, they need to time their moves quite well, especially in qualifying and some of those corners where they do actually need to wait quite some time before getting back on the throttle. It's really going to make it quite difficult in some respects. But Angus Cook getting his way on by Dylan Burst at turn 1 quite nicely. Probably going to be a little bit of time lost for both drivers, so we'll see if they can improve on this lap. And again, another MX-5 in the form of Calla Hides for Angus Cook. So he's certainly getting some multi-class practice in before the race, and that was a little bit of a cheeky bump there.
Yeah, certainly was. It just goes to show that despite the TCR cars, those front-wheel drive turbocharged Audis being about 8-9 seconds a lap faster, there's just a couple places, like it seems like on the brakes in the initial turn-in where the MX-5s can kind of match them, then the TCR cars are going to outdo them on the throttle, out of the corners, outdo them in a straight line, and probably with those big fender flares and big slick tires, do better than an MX-5 in the high-speed corners. Some of the slower speed, more technical stuff, the MX-5 has a good weight distribution, and you can definitely drive it on the throttle, make it turn if you need to. One of our little chin beard enthusiasts here in the MX-5 is Sean Doyle, 4th in class at the moment, so not bad. He's heading straight, shortest line to the checkered flag on this lap. He's probably only going to get One, maybe two more if he's lucky. I think probably only one more.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, probably one more based on their lap times at the moment, doing mid 208s at the moment. So not exactly the fastest machinery around the Snetterton circuit, but nevertheless, he'll at least get one more lap in to try and improve on his position. Didn't have that last lap count, so has obviously gotten an off track or something somewhere. So you have to go around again and try and improve on his lap time over 2 minute 8.705. So see what he can do and whether he can move up the order ahead of Tame Venables and the likes of Hides and Burst as well.
You know, I said I was just eating a Luxor curry earlier. I just touched my eye. Why did I just touch my eye? Okay. Andrew Hobby, though, we've seen him last season and also some other broadcasts in that distinctive light center Audi. He's looking for an improvement right to the end of this session, and he's going to get one. And it's not going to move him up any positions, though, because he needed just another half a tenth to displace Vantagiato in fourth. That's a promising sign that he's still found a bit of time for some improvement. That's someone who's not going to be making an improvement in turn 2, turn 3 at the hairpin there.
It didn't look like it was Vantagiato by the looks of it. He's actually made it all the way out to the grassy fields in the off part of the track as well.
Oh, he's qualifying. It's done. Caleb Hides similarly enjoying some of the British countryside and performing a little bit of mowing. And he's got the top step of qualifying in his class at the moment. So I don't think he needs to worry too much. He's probably going to lock in at least a decent starting spot. If that lap doesn't count, which it won't. For Damon Woods, that number must be wrong. He's not going to do a 22-second lap.
Didn't improve on his best by the looks of it, so that's not going to be a change in position or time at the moment. It's only 1,000th ahead of Aaron Oliver as well, so very, very close between those two at the moment.
Oh, moment for Richard Brookfield. Worked his way back onto the old section of the circuit after the little bit laundry folding opening section where they've added a little bit more track to the first sector. Then under the bridge, a little bit blind into the left-hander, the correct line into the right-hander. Again, you just don't want to hit too much of that curb on the apex. Wide at the bomb hole.
A little bit wide as well through the big sweeping right-hander, just a little bit off the apex, but not looking too bad. Comes through the final corner, just shy to get that inside curb as well at the final corner. We'll see if the lap time's any good, but decides to bail and bring it into lane because it's clearly not an improvement. So we'll see who else can do one. Stephen Owen coming to the line as well by the looks of it. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Lee Harrison also trying to complete a lap time, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to get to the line in time either.
No, very little time left in qualifying, and it is a hard cut into race number 1. So let's take a look at how they're going to line up in Club Day Masters on the grid. On the pole position of our Audi TCRs, Jack Boyd alongside Mario Vartanian, then Byron Phillips, Ivan Vantagiato, Andrew Hobby, Lee Harrison in 6th, then Damon Woods, Aaron Oliver, Glenn Boyd, Dylan Zabono, Christopher Henn. Angus Cook was definitely in the Audi as well, so that is about 12th or so. Richard Brookfield, Stephen Owen, Nico Mendes, Matthew Mcmillan, Robbie Graham, Isaac Edwards still in the TCR class, and then our Mazda MX-5s.
And you're going to have Caleb Hydes and Dylan Burst on the front row of that class. Tank Venables and Sean Doyle on row 2. Adam Sharp and George Gutierrez on row 3. For the MX5s, row 4 is going to be Anthony Connors and Nick Scariev, followed by Sam Layman, Philip Paradiso, Ben Edwards, and Marlon Fraser to round out the MX5 class.
Yeah, well, there we go. All of our grid for Club Day Masters Round 2, brought to you by Automotive Towing South Australia. We are at Snetterton. It's going to be a standing start for a 30-minute race.
Actually interesting to see how well everybody gets these TCRs and these MX5s off the line with it being a standing start. We did see a standing start last time out at Phillip Island, so hopefully everybody's got themselves well and truly prepared and has had a little bit of practice at standing starts. So we'll see what's going to happen here and who's going to get the best launch, especially off that front row, and with no real room to maneuver around anybody. If you do get a bad start, it's really going to make it terrible if you do get one better than everybody else.
Audi at the front, Mazda at the back. We go racing, and a couple of those MX-5s at their rear-wheel drive that have gotten a pretty good launch, at least initially, before the horsepower for the TCR cars kicks in. At the front, you can see the shuffling and the chopping and the changing. Byron Phillips, a good launch, I think. He's going to lead them at the hairpin. Drama in the back, rolls backwards onto the track and summarily gets executed, I think.
And a few
Doyle
scattering.
off-roading.
And a few scattering around onto the grass to try and take evasive action. A number of the MX-5s unfortunately involved in that, as well as a few TCRs. You got Mcmillan and Layman and Caleb Hydes and a few others all involved in that. Lucky for Sean Doyle to actually get away with running out onto the grass as well on the outside. But at the front, Byron Phillips with an amazing start to go from third on the grid to end up first before they even got to turn 1. So has that launched down pretty good, and Vartanian's managed to get on by Jack Boyd as well, so he's going to be sitting nicely in second place. So not the greatest start for Jack Boyd, but he's at least on the tail of the other two in front of him.
And then they're all going to funnel out onto the fastest straight, the longest straight of the circuit. It doesn't lead into a huge braking zone. The action is all going to kick off behind them as well, though, because Lee Harrison is in a world of trouble. I think he's got Damon Woods to one side, Aaron Oliver to the other, just backs out. You can definitely see Glenn Boyd and Andrew Hobby in there as well as they come into this left-right flick. For the first time on the first lap, Harrison managed to hold on to that one, but I thought he was going to find himself in trouble pretty quick.
It did look like there was possibly going to be a little bit of drama there if it went a little bit pear-shaped, but luckily it has been no drama in that case. Back to the MX5 field, though, Caleb Hyde's trying to recover from that terrible start on lap 1 early on in the lap as well, and he's not too far off the back of Scariev and Doyle as well, who are trying to build a little bit of a gap, but Hyde's clearly has quite a bit of pace at the moment, so we'll see what's going to happen between those three. Doyle trying to keep up with Scariev. He seems to have a little bit of good pace at the moment, running wide as well. And Vartanian's off the road as well at turn 1, well off the road, in fact, and so is Byron Phillips.
Oh dear, Jack Boyd is through to the lead. Was there contact between the cars that were first and second? The likelihood of both of them just doing a whoopsie by themselves, I would say, is quite unlikely. So we'll dig to the bottom of that one. But for the moment, Jack Boyd back to the lead. Some of the cars behind have been able to catch. Our first virtual racing school replays of the evening. Wow, no, okay. Both of them are just way too hot into turn 1.
Yeah, no contact at all. That's really, really odd to have seen them end up running that far out, especially Byron Phillips, who ended up way out and nearly in the really long grass, managing to slot in just behind Andrew Hobby. But yeah, that's a really, really big mistake there from both of them, and the one they'll be certainly not too happy with themselves about. I wonder if maybe Jack Boyd possibly spooked both of them into that mistake, but nevertheless, they'll continue to try and recover the lost positions in time that they've had to deal with in those mistakes. And Vartani trying to find a way on by Angus Cook as well. He's got Nico Mendes and Richard Brookfield for company as Brookfield looks to the inside of Mendes, but not going to be able to get the move done yet.
Cook's loving this with Vartanian, Mendez, Brookfield, and Graham all in the line behind him. He's made a good line through bomb hole there again as well. Been very interesting for the MX-5s, actually, because Caleb Hydes mustn't have had a particularly great start. Adam Sharp is leading that class, and Doyle and Skariev were right up there as well. There's been some other action. This is, well, that was Aaron Oliver, but this is George Gutierrez. Oh, too much on the inside. Flicks back to the outside. Well, luckily you're sitting on the left-hand side of these Cup cars, because that just square side-on slide into the wall.
And that's one of the things about the MX-5 as well, is that it's got quite a large steering range as well, so it's not quite so easy to save those things when they snap back the other way, because you're going to be doing a few wheel rotations as a result. And that's, I believe, Dylan De Bono in the pits coming out now to serve a drive-through, if I'm not mistaken. Venables is going to be serving one very, very shortly as well, so those two are going to be in hot water with the stewards at the moment. But the two teammates of Lee Harrison and Ivan Vantagiato currently battling quite hard for the final spots on the podium at the moment. Vantagiato currently holding the lead at bragging rights in that little pack there.
Yeah, you'll love to see it. Vantagiato in front of Harrison. Harrison's got the turquoise wheels at the moment. Pretty sure that is Mr. Vantagiato there. Big red gloves. He's looking forward as much as he's looking in the mirrors at the moment, I think. Oh, Hobby has gone flight center.
There's tried to go and join the planes clearly out in the outside of the field, and there's quite a bit of damage on that car as well by the looks of it on the left front corner. So I'd say there's been contact with the wall as a result. Looks like he's done that all on his own as well, so not what he will have wanted at all. But Hydes has caught up to Adam Sharp already, who was well and truly ahead of him when that mistake was happened, and straight on by he goes.
Yeah, no doubt at all on that one. Hydes going to the lead of class. Adam Sharp with nothing to do about it. Here comes Hobby, and he's probably going to get some of that damage fixed as well. He's not the only driver on pit lane, because Isaac Edwards is there as well.
Not quite sure whether Isaac's come in for damage or it's a scheduled stop. I'd say it's a scheduled stop by the looks of it. So he's back out and going. Aaron Oliver, though, trying to find his way on by Damon Woods, who's trying to hunt down, obviously, Harrison and Vantagiato, who are just up the road. So we'll have to keep an eye on this little battle. And bear in mind, Byron Phillips is not a million miles away behind them as well. So you might see this little train turn into a 5-car train very, very shortly.
Could happen, no doubt. At the moment, just a little relaxed from second and third there. Not quite so relaxing for Philip Paradiso. Going to get passed by Anthony Connors. Probably not anyone else with that one. Here we go, though. The recovery from Byron Phillips. He's gotten himself back in front of Glenn Boyd, I think.
Trying to pull away from Glenn Boyd at the moment, is having Chris Mahin and Stephen Owen chase him down quite quickly with the way it's going. But Byron Phillips still starting to build a little bit of a gap at the moment. It's not the biggest in the world, but he is certainly extending that gap ever so slightly, and little by little, as well as Lee Harrison and Aaron Oliver decide to duck down onto the lane to get their pit stop out of the way. Venables comes out of pit lane as well.
Lee Harrison looked it up big time and smacked the fence on his way in, but I'm not sure that's actually going to matter a whole lot. One Boyd to the other. Jack Boyd leading. Glenn Boyd in fifth, sandwiched between Byron Phillips and Christopher Hen here. And I think Phillips is just starting to get away a little bit. And Hen is just starting to ramp up the pressure.
Way is more drivers in the pit lane at the moment, but still that battle raging on between Byron Phillips and also Glenn Boyd. Boyd's definitely not letting Byron Phillips get away, as that's nearly contact between the two of them. Phillips having a little bit of a moment there on the way into that corner. Not quite sure what happened there, but it looked like he had a front lockup, but nevertheless has kept it on the black stuff for the time being.
Yeah, they're going to have to start worrying about Vartanian back there as well in all carbon. Might have stolen your car, Cam.
Oh, you could say that. Maybe not. Maybe did. Byron Phillips dropping 2 wheels in the dirt there on the exit of bomb hole, managing to just hold onto it as well as it got a little bit squirrely underneath him, but at the moment still not quite able to keep up with Byron Phillips as Boyd and Hen and also Angus Cook come down onto the lane. A few more also coming down onto the lane by the looks of it. You've got Woods, Vantagiato coming down as well as Jack Boyd. So top 3 into the lane at the moment.
I love how Vantagiato found that little bump in where the pit stalls are. He got it all in the air. And he's going to get going again. Good stop from Jack Boyd. Very snappy, very quickly. Harrison is going to get past Vantagiato by stopping earlier there, I think.
It looks like it's the case by the looks of it. Harrison has indeed jumped Vantagiato. Jack Boyd has stayed ahead of both of them, though. So he's made some gains there and has got quite a buffer as well back to Harrison, does Jack Boyd. So some nice gains made there. It's currently all over the back of Aaron Oliver as well, and looking like he's made some gains in that one as well as Aaron Oliver.
It seems it's seeing a lot of pit stop times somewhere between 10 seconds and 12 seconds, and those who are a little closer to 10 than 12 seem to have done well through the pit stops. So Boyd and Harrison, pretty snappy, pretty quick. Dylan Burse has stopped and leads quite a bit quicker than Hydes through the pit lane. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah, very, very interesting to see the pit stop differential there. I'm wondering if possibly there's been some underfueling there and possibly trying to counter a safety car, but we'll have to wait and see what happens nearly halfway through this race. So still the possibility of a safety car to come out, which would certainly help that shorter pit stop time if he doesn't have enough to get home on green. But on board Vartani, who's trying to keep up with Byron Phillips at the moment, doing not too bad of a job, but still a little bit of time to find to close that gap down as Brookfield finishes his pit stop and comes out. It's going to be a 27.9 pit stop by the looks of it. So not too bad, while Robbie Graham's going to be a little bit longer in 30.9 seconds.
So there's 4 cars at the front in TCR that haven't pitted, and everyone driving a Mazda has already.
Phillips' time, Vartani was quite a bit quicker that last time by compared to Phillips, and also Stephen Owen doing reasonable pace as well, a little bit quicker than both of them really. So interesting to see a little bit of lack of pace from Byron Phillips, possibly getting held up on that last lap by traffic. But
here comes this safety car, though. I do think.
Yes, you would be right on
Here
that
it
one.
comes. I don't think Stephen Owen has quite caught on to that yet.
I don't think anyone has. Bear in mind, he hasn't pitted yet as well, so he'll be coming down onto the lane, and so Byron Phillips, by the looks of it, as well as Vartanian. I think Mendes will join them as well.
I think Jack Boyd is going to come back through to the lead.
Be correct in that. Phillips is just going to come out behind Vantagiato as well by the looks of it. Vartanian's just going to, I wanted to say come out behind Aaron Oliver, as that was very, very close on pit exit, but he's ended up slotting in behind Christopher Henry, who's found himself off the road and doing a little bit of mowing.
Yeah, that is inventive. Some of the MX-5s getting sent around the pace car so that it is Jack Boyd behind. Oh, Dylan Burse had a good little lead going on for himself, and it's going to evaporate a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly is going to, unfortunately, evaporate, but that's it. He's coming down onto the lane, actually, as Dylan Burse, which is a little bit surprising. So we'll see what happens in that department, which means Caleb Hydes is going to be inheriting the lead as a result, and debatable as to whether Scary is going to end up P2 in the order, but if not, he's going to be at least third still.
There might be a penalty or two after this one, I think.
Yeah, sounds like there's been a little bit of chatter and possibly going to be some penalties handed out by the sounds of it to a few drivers.
Interesting to see a couple of these drivers back on pit lane for the second time. Dylan Burse, Sean Doyle, for example.
Yeah, rather interesting seeing the second pit stop from a few of these drivers. Not quite sure whether it's due to possibly not putting enough fuel in the pit stop or possibly trying to get some tyre advantage, but unless it's an interesting strategy call, that's for sure.
Hearing this is going to be the last lap of the safety car. It'll be in the end of this lap. Recap about the top 10 is in each class is Jack Boyd up front, Lee Harrison, Ivan Vantagiato on the right of screen. Oliver's worked his way up in 4th, Damon Woods in 5th, Byron Phillips in 6th, Christopher Hen 7th, Vartanian, Owen and Glenn Boyd for the top 10 of the Audis. MX-5, Caleb Hydes has gotten his lead back. He is closely followed by Dylan Burse and then Skariev in 3rd for Paradiso, Anthony Connors, Sam Layman, Adam Sharp, Tane Venables, Sean Doyle has rejoined in 9th, and I think 10th and 11th might be retirements in that class at the moment. Isaac Edwards is maybe 6 laps down or something, and it seems like Marlon Fraser has parked it, so Edwards might see the checkered flag, but he is a long way behind everyone else in class as far as the lap count appears to go.
Yeah, it looks to be the
Hi,
case.
Mum, says Angus Cook.
Cheeky wave on the Zoom call there.
He could have done a lot worse with his hands under safety car, so that's good. Worse signals he could have sent us.
Look, Jay, there's nothing wrong with doing it down on camera, all right?
With all of that said, they're on to what I'm reliably informed is the Bentley Straight. Fantastic. Which is sort of the better part of halfway around the lap here on the full Snetterton 300 layout. Isaac. Lead tyres warm.
Trying to get those tyres warm with a bit of weaving, and it would appear as Doggo has decided to disappear for the moment by the looks of it.
Bring back the dog. I won't say the other one. The safety car's starting to pull away a little bit. Jack Boyd is still keeping them bottled up in the final sector here. Long right-hander that leads into the sharp left at the end. Boyd is going to keep them waiting. Just under 10 minutes left in the first race here of the Club Day Masters, and they're shaping up for the restart. Jack Boyd still waiting, and now he's going to go. And not a great start. Restart there from, I think, Damon Woods potentially.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a few drivers got caught sleeping by the looks of it. There's going to be nearly 3 wide in the background on the way into turn 1. Vartan is going to get shuffled out by Christopher Hen by the looks of it. And he's going to drop well down the order, all the way to the back of the field pretty much. Unfortunately, he's going to drop in behind the MX-5s. Even, that's not ideal for Ben Edwards at all.
No, it's not. Edwards was already a couple laps down on that one, I think. That's always the danger at this sort of restart there. You can wait for all the TCR cars, but then you're immediately in front of the MX-5 class. There is Cook having a dive at Christopher Hen.
Finishing a little bit of argy-bargy going on there, but we'll get that position off Christopher Hen in the end. Maybe going to get a little bit of return serve on this braking zone here, but not quite going to be close enough for Christopher Hen as Cook runs a little bit wide. Now opens the door for Christopher Hen to launch it back up the inside. On contact between the two of them. You saw it coming just half a lap ago. He's going to slot in behind Nico Mendes by the looks of it.
He's listening out all the way down the straight here, obviously, after that one. You can press up here. There's Hobby having a look. Make sure he tucks the inside tyres all the way to that right-hander there. And the right-handers just keep coming. Often can be tempting to get a little aggressive around the outside of that long corner. Is anyone going to have a go? That's not quite going to work deeper in the field there. Jack Boyd still leading though from Harrison and Vantagiato. Hobby is going to try to come around the outside here, I think.
He's going to work. Try, but probably not quite going to work on Brookfed at least. And up the inside is going to go Robbie Graham as well.
Nico Mendes wants to follow the inside line as well at the hairpin. Oh, and it could work, you know. Clean around the outside then as well. Interesting from Mendes. Good line. I think Hobby's really suffering a bit here. Problem for Jack Boyd. Leader. No longer though.
He's done that zone as well. He looks like he's clipped the grass on the braking zone in towards the hairpin there, and he's lost the rear end as a result and dropped well behind. Ended up just slotting in behind Aaron Oliver. Now we get a virtual racing school replay to see how he's exactly done it. Yep, 2 wheels on the dirt, and that's not going to be too much in. Well, that's not going to be liked by the car at all.
Needed to use more of the throttle to pull out of that one, I reckon. Gives Harrison the lead from Vantagiato, and then Oliver, Boyd, Woods, Phillips here. Going for third, gain to the inside of the bomb hole. I think that's where you want to be. Doesn't quite work though, but then long right-hander. He's going to get muscled out. That right-hander never ends. Sort of counting the markers on the inside, there's like 6, 7 of them or something.
Something like that. There's quite a few of them. Jack Boy going to try and size up Aaron Oliver at turn 1. Looks to the inside, but not quite going to be brave enough and late enough on the brakes. Although Oliver runs wide, and that's going to allow Jack Boyd to slot on by. Oliver's going to have to go defensive on Damon Woods, who's going to try his hand around the outside at the hairpin. Not quite going to work. Phillips trying to force one up the inside, though, on the exit, but he's not going to be successful in that attempt.
Clever stuff from Boyd. Have a look. Put the pressure on Oliver, and then Oliver's gone in just a little bit deep to that sort of double apex right-hander that opens up the lap. So that's Boyd back up into third place. As the amount of time left in the race is rapidly evaporating. I think it is 2 to go at the moment, potentially. This is the battle for the very front of the MX-5 field with Hides and Burst. We ride on board with Dylan Burst, making sure he fills up the mirrors for Caleb Hides. It's a technique that worked well for Jack Boyd on Aaron Oliver, so I wonder if Burst is going to be able to make good on that against Hides.
You have to see if Burst is going to be able to try and find a way on by Caleb Hides at some point. Timer is ticking down, so he's going to need to quickly get a move on and try and set this move up at some point or another, or he's going to miss out on a possible race win. But nevertheless, we'll have to wait and see what happens in that class.
Sean Doyle immediately behind is not on the same lap. We saw him spend a long time in the pit lane there. So actually third in class is Nitz Gariev, but he has dropped 10 seconds behind the dueling 2 leaders in that class.
Just also seeing Jack Boyd's got some really good pace, although might not quite be enough to get by Lee Harrison, but might just be enough in the end to get to Vantagiato. But we'll have to see what happens. But certainly on between Oliver and Boyd, and Woods is definitely not out of the woods with Phillips either, but Hides is going to go very defensive on the way into turn 1. Burst is going to look to the inside, but not quite going to be close enough, well, enough alongside to get that move done into turn 1. Hide's going to go defensive again on the way down to turn 2, and Burst is going to have to go the long way round at the hairpin, and no move going to happen this time either.
Very telling that he immediately feels like he's got to cover the inside every single opportunity. There is still 2 to go for these guys, and our leaders in PCR are about halfway through the same lap, and they're going to take the white flag next time. So there's still some opportunity, still some chance here for the lead in this class. Hides is just defending the inside everywhere. No rhyme or reason to it, just block.
Now, he knows that if he does defend, he pretty much can't, well, Burst can't get on it by, although he probably doesn't want to go defensive onto out of some of these corners, especially the likes of the one they're coming up to now, where they're coming onto a big straight. So he's decided to use a typical racing line. He's also got a little bit of a gap as well in those last 2 corners, so might just be able to get keep a hold of the lead. But Jack Boyd is all over the back of Vanchiato. Vanchiato has probably made a mistake, I'd say, based on the fact that he was 2 seconds slower that last time by. But Boyd's going to try around the outside, not quite going to be close enough. Going to try set the exit up. Is he going to be close enough for a move? No, he's not. But brakes very late and deep on the brakes. Now Oliver had to go defensive as well in the background on Damon Woods, and Byron Phillips nearly had to go Woods as well on the way into turn 2.
But way closer than that angle. Looking backwards from the bumper made it appear. There was nothing between Vanchiato and Boyd for a hot minute there. And Oliver and Woods were also battling behind. So your leader, Lee Harrison, is getting away on the final lap. And then you can see second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all in picture here. Where in the remainder of this lap is Boyd going to be able to get around him?
That is the question, and it's probably going to be something we least expected, and it's probably going to be a last-ditch effort, I'd say.
Yeah, certainly could be. So how important is this run onto the Bentley back straight? Harrison staying all the way to the left. That kind of counts as defending the inside for the left-hander, but then the key point is then that sharp right flick after it. So Vanchiato's got that covered. Hey! Wow. It was almost too hot to broadcast between Woods and Phillips here. Phillips hops the curb and is going to run him off the road. Steve Owen immediately behind. But for Lee Harrison, he's got 1 corner left to bring home a win in Club Day Masters. As for Vanchiato and Boyd, I think Boyd is in a struggle here. So Harrison is going to grab the win. And Vanchiato seems happy for him. Vanchiato's going to hold on to second. Jack Boyd in third. Aaron Oliver in fourth.
Yeah, certainly, but it's on in the MX5 field at the moment, side by side, the 2 race leaders. Burst is up the inside of Caleb Hydes, and Burst gets up on the curb at 2 wheels, and that's going to allow Hydes to hold it around the outside as they head down towards Bomb Hole. That was very nearly ending in tears, but managing to just hold on to it does Dylan Burst, and that's going to give Caleb Hydes the mistake that he needed to have a little bit of a gap and less pressure on the way through the final corner they come, and Caleb Hydes is going to be ending up taking the win in the MX5 class with Dylan Burst in second, and Doyle is going to round out the podium.
Yeah, just a little bit too much of that curb there for Burst, unfortunately. But you're right, that's how they're gonna get it done. Even though Hydes lifted off the throttle a little bit before the timing line, still gets the win. So that's almost all of them to the line. Still waiting for a couple in the MX5s, but in the Audi class, Lee Harrison wins from Vanchiato ahead of Jack Boyd. Pole sitter only managing third. Aaron Oliver in fourth, Byron Phillips in fifth, Damon Woods in sixth, and Stephen Owen, Christopher Henn, Glenn Boyd, Richard Brookfield, Angus Cook, Nico Mendes, Jackson Rehana, Andrew Hobby, Dylan DeBono, Robbie Graham, Matthew Mcmillan, and Isaac Edwards, the last TCR to finish on the lead lap because Mario Vartanian got a black flag and damage and sort of retired.
Yeah, not the finish that Vartanian will have wanted, but Caleb Hyde's going to take out the MX5 class, followed by Dylan Burst. Nick Scary was actually going to end up coming home at third in that class by the looks of it. So podium for Scary in the end. Layman's going to come home fourth, fifth to Tane Venables. Philip Paradiso in sixth, seventh to Anthony Connors, Adam Sharp eighth. Sean Doyle is going to end up ninth somehow, probably due to a penalty, and then you're going to have Ben Edwards, Marlon Fraser, and Gutierrez to round out the field as retirees.
Yeah, there it is. Race 1 of Club Day Masters from Snetterton. We're going to take a little break here on SimSpeed TV. We're going to come back with Race 2 where they do it all again. In the meantime, a word from a couple of our sponsors here, SimSpeed and Club Day Masters.
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums.
I went as a spectator to Silverstone, walked around the car park where you saw lots of racing cars and Bentleys, and I saw one that appealed to me. Yeah. So I sat on the step all day until the owner came along. And I said, how much do you want for this 8-litre Bentley, a 2-seater, very powerful car? Oh, he said £250. I said, oh, I can't afford that. So I said, let's go and have a cup of tea. Yeah. So he said, well, what could you afford? I said, £200. Yeah. So he said, right, done. So he slapped my hand like that. Deal was done. He delivered the next day.
Well, race 1 was interesting. Race 2, I don't think we'll disappoint in that regard either. We're just in a warm-up right now, and when the clock hits 0, drivers will all line up once again for another standing start here at Snetterton 300. And they are going to line up as they finished race 1. So for some, that's good news. There's a couple of drivers I can pick out where they'd probably rather we could do qualifying all over again.
Yeah, there's certainly a few mixed in the field now after race 1's results, having either DNF'd or ended up with penalties or some form of drama that's ended up happening in race 1 that's ended up putting them down the order in race 2. So there's going to be a few drivers who aren't going to be too happy with that, and hopefully we don't see too much carnage as a result. But nevertheless, it's going to be a very, very exciting race 2, and seeing who's going to come away with this one is anybody's guess.
Again, pit stops and a safety car. I hope there'll probably be a couple of drivers a little more alert to the safety car this time. The warm-up is going to come to an end. And we'll have a quick peek at the grid, though it is, as I say, exactly the same as the finishing order from race 1 just 5 minutes ago. Key Lee Harrison of Advantagiato teammates on the front row for TCR. Jack Boyd, who qualified for pole for race 1 and then finished in 3rd, is going to have to start from the 2nd row of the grid. And we'll cycle through the rest of the grid. Cam, who stands out to you? I mean, for one, Mario Vartanian, I think he's going to have to start behind some MX-5s potentially.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's going to be well at the back, so he's going to have to shuffle his way through the MX-5s, certainly, but moving through to the grid on the MX-5s, you obviously got those three finished on the podium, starting at the front of the MX-5 class, and Sean Doyle has got the pace to be on the podium, starting all the way down near the back, unfortunately, due to that penalty, so we'll have to see what he can do from where he's starting, but certainly Jack Boyd will be wanting to try and get that win and a good start here in race 2.
Well, let's go as we launch into race 2. Again, there's a couple of MX-5s that drop the clutch a little better than the TCR cars, but then once we get up to speed, the horsepower from the TCR does the job. Good clean start from Lee Harrison, more side by side. Back here, Byron Phillips, more mowing again. He's going to get back onto the track just in time for the braking zone, but Steve Owen's not.
Yeah, Owen ending up out in the weeds and making contact with a few drivers. By the looks of it, there's more carnage going on around the corner. Damon Woods off the road.
It's not even figuratively out in the weeds there, is it? It's literally, you could lose yourself in that cornfield if you get far enough off the track. This is Tane Venables, who's worked his way up to 3rd in class. The battle we saw at the end of last race between Hides and Burst is right back on, but this time the tyres are a little cold and you can see the cars are a little squirmier. Here come some of the TCR cars trying to work their way through as well.
Yeah, you got Damon Woods trying to navigate the MX-5 field after ending up in strife out of turn 2. Not quite sure who he ended up tangling with, but there's probably going to be carrying a little bit of body work down to the back of the front of the field of the TCR class. Lee Harrison is going to be having his hands full with Jack Boyd. He's managed to find his way on by, and Vantagiato is going to have Aaron Oliver looking to make him move up the inside. No, decides to back out of it and think better of it.
Bit of tyre warming from Boyd, maybe. Whoa, Dylan DeBono, I think that's probably going to be a slowdown penalty. He might have cut a little bit of that one. Oh, it's looking inside the bomb hole. He's nearly going to shove someone else off track. Here's Hobby around the outside for the right-hander, is not where I would want to be, and he is going to lose ground out there to Jackson Rehana, I think it was.
I think it was Harrison off the road as well, out of the final corner. Not quite sure whether he was assisted.
It's Robbie Graham, my bad. But yep, here is Lee Harrison losing a handful of positions as well. This is because he was right up behind Angus Cook. And
that's grass.
Then it's the grass again.
I want to say has done a better job at saving it than what Jack Boyd did in race 1.
Got to get out our scorecard and tick the different sections and give marks. TCR school of defensive driving and catching slides and just mashing the throttle in any situation to pull the front back in the line. Gonna need some of that the way these battles are going here. Still, it's Hobby and Graham.
He nearly looked up the inside. Oh, a little bit of a bump there to Robbie Graham for good measure on the exit of the corner. So still giving him a little bit of a hurry up, and knows he's got some good pace and got Leo Harrison for company as well. So Harrison will be wanting to get on by as Rehana goes for a little bit of a mowing after being shuffled out by Vartanian there. He's going to end up losing another position as well to Damon Woods, who's managed to finally catch up to the back of the TCR field. Hobby, though, trying to make a move on Graham, and did go a little bit defensive as well, with Lee Harrison all over his tail as well.
Well, TCR certainly more numerous, providing plenty of action, but Sean Doyle hoping that race 2 is going to go better for him than race 1. Battling here with Sam Layman over 4th and 5th. There he goes. Plenty of display cabinets in the background. Plenty of fans. Plenty of RGB. See the box for his pedals all the way back there as well, but the face is focused.
Yeah, certainly eyes forward, head down mode at the moment, trying to catch up to the likes of Tame Venables in that top 3 battle pack, not too far up the road, and he's got the likes of Sam Layman for company just in behind him as well, so towing Sam along for the time being, and a little bit slower than the likes of Venables in that just ahead, although compared to the likes of Hydes, he's actually on pace for that top 3, so might be able to get up to him, but Byron Phelps coming out of the lane to get his pit stop out of the way, so a few people decided to nearly stop.
I think for the TCR runners as well, their first pit stop gets pushed back a little deeper into the race because of the presence of the MX-5s that are a bit more traffic. You know, they want to get a couple more laps into the race, get a pit stop clear of the MX-5s before they make their stop, potentially. Has he turned on the lights in the room since we saw him last?
Certainly not quite as blue as it was in race 1 and in qualifying.
You know when you're enjoying watching TV in the dark, someone else comes into the room, turns on the light, and then doesn't turn it off when they leave? Is that just me?
The worst. Absolute worst. I hate it. It's even worse when the TV's... no, not the TV. The light's actually literally just above your head as well, and just in your peripheral vision above your head as well. It makes it all that much more annoying.
Just let me eat chocolate biscuits in the dark while I watch TV like the little goblin I am. I'm happy here in the dark. At Apex at the hairpin, and it's a good and clean move we like to see, because there's still a couple penalties flying around out there for some moves that were a little less surgically precise than that one.
There's still a few penalties to be served by the looks of it. Vartanian's got one by the looks of it, so you have to serve that at some point.
If you're keeping track, which someone probably should be.
Interesting to see that Cook is actually starting to break away a little bit as well from Glenn Boyd, so Boyd possibly struggling with a little bit of a grip here, well, pace, sorry, I should say, rather than grip. And
but he also finished pretty well in race 1, and there were a couple of drivers who really had good speed and really got beat around in that first race. So Mendez immediately behind, not his race in race 1. Looking a little tidier for the moment. Glenn Boyd's not. That is off the road, and I'm going to score that even worse than the other slide recoveries earlier.
Oh, and he's just made the fence as well, trying to get it back around the other way, so he's going to have to find the the race gear, as they sometimes call it, and get that thing back moving straight. Brookfield loses a place there in the foreground, but Andrew Hobby trying to make his way further forward as well, trying to find it set up and move on Robbie Graham. They're going to have Dylan DeBono for company as well. Do either any of these drivers decide to dive to the lane? No, they do not, and nor does anyone behind. But Hobby trying to go round the outside on the way down towards turn 1. Is he going to be brave enough and be able to hold it round the outside? It's not looking like he is, and that's going to allow Dylan DeBono to get up the inside, and that's wide Hobby and wide DeBono, and Graham nearly getting taken out in the process as well. Hobby's going to go round the outside at turn 2 as well, but getting it shuffled out as a result. He keeps his foot on it though and tries to hold it there around the outside. 2 wheels in the dirt even, but is going to have to concede that position back to Graham in the end.
If in doubt, flat out. And a good little scrap. Graham, Hobby, very hard Brookfield, DeBono, that battle. Meanwhile, Mendez and Hen for 5th here. I really thought Mendez was catching Cook, but it seems like not so much. Some drama in MX5 there as well between Ben Edwards and someone else.
That was so close for Scariev.
Side swipe from Scariev on Ben Edwards. I've forgotten who's in the pink mobile. The
Gutierrez.
Full hairdresser spec.
All it needs is
this is what it looked like. Gutierrez in a little hot there, focused on his battle and just sliding the front in. Edwards, not the cleanest of rejoins there either, but he would have been a bit shaken on that one.
Yeah, possibly walking a little wounded after that to get back on track, with the fact that was a massive impact as well. We ended up getting up on 2 wheels as a result. Mendes and Cook decide to come down onto the lane. Hobby does as well as Graham. So a few more drivers starting to come down onto lane and get their pit stops out of the way. Aaron Oliver, Jack Boyd, and Vantagiato also on the lane. Jack Boyd's going to jump both of them. Oliver's going to get out ahead of Vantagiato, and Cook's actually going to get out ahead of Vantagiato. Vantagiato's actually got a penalty there by the looks of it.
Could he have sped on the way into pit lane? There's a few of them really aggressively attacking that pit entry. I've seen plenty catch it sideways, get a bit of grass. Yeah, not the most pleased we've ever seen him as he waits and waits and waits. Normally, if you're speeding on the way towards the pit box, it adds 35 seconds, 40-ish seconds. So the pit stop, it's ouchy.
He didn't look like he was speeding on the way in. Was down to pit speed. Oh no, he actually was speeding on the way in. Sorry. So yes, that is indeed going to be a penalty.
It is Mazda Fest on the lane. That's been a very good pit stop from Tane Venables. I think he's definitely gonna come through in a second place, right with Caleb Hides, as almost all of them have done their pit stops now. Hides, Venables, first and second in class of the cars that have pitted. Burst has gone one longer.
Yeah, Venables was actually second on the road as well prior to those pit stops, so we'll have to see where Burst pops out in relation to Hides and Venables. Layman's also lost a lot of time in that pit stop phase as well, so not too ideal for him. Hen decides to come down onto the lane, very, very committed there as well, and possibly, well, hopefully not too much over the speed limit, but we'll see what happens and whether he sits there for a little bit more than 10 odd seconds.
Yeah, what a nasty little couple pit stalls there. It's a very, very angled concrete you got to be careful of. Some drivers who haven't made their stops yet, DeBono and Harrison. And this is another one. Burst. Currently first. Are we going to see him pit now? Be very risky to go much longer because the safety car could strike at any time. And here he comes. It's going to be perfect from Burst if he's going to come out with Venables and Hides. Speaking of, Venables is in front of Hides for second and third in that class. If those two keep fighting, holding each other up, that could be great news for Dylan Burst in the wow, such currency, many coin car.
We have to see whether he's going to be lucky today or he's going to have not stonks in his pit stop.
Looks just a second or two longer than Venables and Hides, but the track position has done pretty well for him as well now as he's going to get up to speed. There's Venables and Hides, your top three in class, and oh, it's touch and go, isn't it? So close. He's going to try to hold on to the inside. Hides is going to do it. He's going to go for it. 3 wide for the class lead into the hairpin. And I might have over-puckered a bit for that one.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have a little bit of a drama going on there with the fact that they were 3 wide on the way in, but Venables going to hold on to second place for the time being. Hyde's going to take first over both of them, and it's already got a little bit of a
Gutierrez on
gap.
pit entry. Oh no. Well, it is all going off in the MX5 class. Gutierrez has just poed because he missed pit entry.
Oh no. We get a replay of this and see what's happening. It's not the entry that he or even the likes of Lee Harrison will have hoped for, coming into the lane behind Ben Edwards. Comes into the lane, that's not going to end well. That's a wall, bud. Oh,
There's your not stonk. Some of the TCR cars had to fight their way past him. If he'd gone in sideways, he would have blocked that like the Suez Canal.
yeah, it would have been a lot of pivoting going on if he had blocked that entry entirely.
Tugs and
unfortunately.
dredging to free him. 12% of the world's TCRs transit through that pit entry. We are past the halfway point of this race. Still no safety car yet, so it is going to be quite deep in this race. You would think might have actually favoured a couple of the drivers who went a little longer before making the pit stops. We'll see, but Jack Boyd leads ahead of Oliver and Cook. So good movement through the field from Cook, but he has been helped by problems both for Harrison and Vantagiato.
Yeah, he certainly has.
Think of the devil, safety car, sister safety car. Going to come out now. Oh yeah, Boyd's about half, of the, 2/3 of the way around the lap. So it's not going to take him too long to catch that Porsche 911 GT3 car.
Yeah, so not too far away from getting it to pit entry. The safety car just casually waiting at pit exit for him to come around. Must be interesting to see where some of the drivers end up with the fact that some haven't pitted as well. Angus Cook coming down onto the, well, faked an entry onto the lane.
So looking backwards from our safety car, MX5 still going around, and here comes Jack Boyd, who should now be caught, form the train. Who's driving the safety car today? Greg Holmes is speeding around.
I mean, the flat six get a little bit of juice sent through it.
Here is our wall of zoom. In the top left, Angus Cook, smile on his face for good reason. He's worked his way up to third, 8 positions gained in this one. And now he's going to get the opportunity to get right up close to Aaron Oliver and Jack Boyd for the lead. In the top right, how's the day going for Sean Doyle? Well, he's on the lead lap in class, so that's better race 2 than race 1, for example, and now he is going to get caught up to Sam Layman, who was battling earlier, for Isaac Edwards. 15th in TCR, but on the lead lap there. And, well, actually, right behind Isaac is Ivan Vantagiato, who on this picture is just to his right.
And this safety car is really going to help Vantagiato as well, with the fact that he had that penalty he had to serve early on in his pit stop.
Seconds. Added 40 seconds to his pit stop time, which is a huge amount in a 30-minute race like this. So he is going to get a bunch of that back, and probably, I guess, look for him to make some moves when we get racing again. Probably from 16th, could he get into the top 10? You wouldn't count it out.
You certainly wouldn't count it out at all, and you'll be sure to get a hurry on once we go racing again with Vantagiato, and certainly knows he has good pace compared to those ahead of him, so we'll see what he can do once we go green. It will be, I want to say I want to say 4 laps roughly to when we go green. So he's not going to have a lot of time to get his way through the field, but it'll probably be enough to get at least into the top 10, I'd say.
Well, I think the safety car's ending right now. Surely he'd go one more. The MX-5 field hasn't caught up yet, but we're going to have to keep our eyes to that safety car because all the TCRs have been boxed in and caught up behind the safety car, but the MX-5s were sort of the opposite side of the circuit. Oh, we're going to get racing again.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it as the pace safety car is in. Jack Boyd is going to check them all up and is away and racing.
Even start from the top 3. Behind there is the action zone. Christopher Henn is going to be under attack. Cook trying to come around the outside of Oliver.
Nearly ended in tears, dipping a wheel into the dirt as well. Going to try around the outside at turn 2. Nope, not quite going to be late enough on the brakes. Nico Mendes though, and a little bit of carnage behind. Brookfield involved as well as Ray Hanna, and I think that was Robbie Graham as well.
Yep. Sure is. Making crop circles out there, contacting intelligent life outside of this planet. I'm gonna take a look at that one, but I think it all starts with Graham side by side with Lee Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah, Harrison making a bit of contact there by the looks of it. Unfortunately, as a result, Graham ending up in the wars, in Brookfield being an innocent bystander and that all had no idea it was coming towards him in the side, almost a little bit like Alex Primer's crash at Phillip Island a few years ago, but
Bert still has that number.
He definitely does.
He's going to have a lot of work he's going to clean up after Club Day Masters. Why do I feel like when Cook flashes the headlights, he should also be blinking on the Zoom call at the same time or something. I'm not sure, but he's going to come around the outside of Oliver at the bomb hole. Surprise, there's no room there as he looks to try to grab second place, and he's going to do it. He can't wait forever because there are some quick drivers in the train just behind as well.
Yeah, definitely a few behind. We're going to want to get a move on and certainly try and get a few more positions and move on to the podium as well in these last few laps or so. And what's going to try and say, he's going to try around the outside is Angus Cook again at turn 1. The old banging wheels touching and nearly ending in tears. Oliver got very crossed up as a result, but looks like Angus Cook is going to come away with that position and move into second ahead of Aaron Oliver. Byron Phillips just behind, also battling with Nico Mendes, and Mendes just going to be keeping Byron Phillips behind him.
Super close stuff between Cook and Oliver. Now Oliver under pressure. Mendes under pressure. Byron Phillips, who was running for the top 3 in race 1, and then it all went very, very pear-shaped. Now when he's racing back and forth, he's surrounded by some teammates here. Oh, no.
Oh, that's not what he will have wanted at all. Oh, and they're going to come out on track. Oh, nearly into the side of Vartanian. Possibly was a little bit of contact there by the looks of it, but very, very lucky to not have that been ending up worse.
He was sailing across the grass headed for disaster, and I thought it was going to be much, much worse than it was. 3 more laps left in this race when they get to the end. Boyd's trying to get a second clear of Cook. Byron Phillips in more trouble yet again. And this is a drive from Harrison back up through the field.
He's certainly recovering quite nicely at the moment. Is Lee Harrison trying to get on by Damon Woods? He's actually coming down onto the lane as Lee Harrison.
It's got a penalty for that contact. earlier we saw that would have sent Robbie Graham, I think it was, into some of the others at the hairpin there on the restart.
So going to be a drive-through penalty by the looks of it, and he will come out behind Byron Phillips by the looks of it. No, yep, behind Byron Phillips, just ahead of Richard Brookfield. So he's ending up around 15th place, coming out in all of that.
This is Matthew Mcmillan and Jackson Rayhana. I haven't seen a whole lot of Matthew Mcmillan, and is it a vaguely Nissan-inspired paint job there?
Yep, indeed it is.
He's gone through a lot of effort with that one. But now, he's really left the door open on that one for Jackson Rayhana, unfortunately. Probably not the perfect braking there as they scrap over the top 10. Giotto is up into 9th, by the way. And this is your top 4. Jack Boyd in red and white out front. And then Angus Cook, Aaron Oliver, and Christopher Penn.
Yeah, so Giotto's done very, very well to make his way inside the top 10 now. And he's trying to size up Vartanian, but just ahead of them as well. You've got that battle of Aaron Oliver, Cook, and also Hen all fighting it out for the final spots on the podium, and it's going to be roughly 2 to go next time by, I want to say. Oliver's going very, very aggressive on the way through the sweeper there.
Touch and go, isn't it, I think, with Jack Boyd doing sub 2-minute laps and crossing the start-finish line now. We really should have 3 to go, but it is touch and go. We're going to have to really, really keep an eye on that one, because it's 2 seconds one way or the other when we're going to get the white flag, and then consequently when we're going to get the checkered flag. Once they've waved the white flag, they can't take it back. They've got to wave the checkered flag the next time, even if there is a little bit of time left on the board.
Yeah, it certainly is the case. So we'll see what happens this time by when they come across the start finish line, and see whether we get the white flag, or whether it is going to be an extra lap in there that these drivers are going to get to battle it out and see where they can end up in the order. Aaron Oliver, though, still trying to find his way back on by Angus Cook. He's closed that gap back up to Cook after these last 2 laps or so. And Hen still applying the pressure as well, just behind. So we'll see if Hen can possibly be the fly end of the sandwich in this little battle here. It's looking very, very good as well to possibly...
Did you just combine fly on the wall and meat in the sandwich?
Yes, I did.
Okay, to get a fly on the sandwich. I'd rather meat in my sandwich than a fly, and I'd rather a fly on the wall than ham on the wall. Oh, okay, so great battle in TCR. Great battle cracking on here in the MX-5s. Ides leads, but remember the great fight on the final lap that Dylan Burst gave him in race 1, and then add remarkable improvement in performance as well here from Tane Venables, who's really been about the top 3 all the way through.
You'll see what's going to happen in the MX-5 class, and who's going to get the race 2 win out of Burst and Hides. It's going to be a very, very close fight, but Giotto still hunting down Vartanian at the moment. Not quite having the pace to manage to find a way on by. It was a little bit quicker that last time by, but not necessarily enough.
Well, do we have any update on how many laps there are to go? Because I think he might have started the last lap, and if that's the case, Ivan Giotto, he is going to run out of time if he wants past Vartanian. Oh, that is a big, big send. Not a lot of overlap on the way in. He gets left a bit of room, but they're still door to door, and that gives him the outside into the next corner, which is going to be tough work.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Vartanian's not going to give this one up easily either. So he's going to go defensive on the way into turn 4. Giotto going to try it around the outside, then brake as late as he dares, and that's not quite going to end up working out for him too much, although he does get not too bad of an exit, but He's not quite going to get enough overlap for the following corner, or is he just going to throw it in anyway? Probably throw it in. And they're going to be side by side on the way into the hairpin in the infield, and Martin's still going to hold on to that one. Vantagiato is not letting this up at all and is trying everything he can to try and get a move here.
Second, we're going to have to look at Jack Boyd, because what flag is going to be waiting for him at the start-finish line this time? I think it's going to be the checkered flag, but I am just not sure. Either way, there's not a lot of time left in this race, not a lot of laps left in this one either. He's controlled this one very well from the restart. One last corner, and he's got 10 seconds left on the clock. It's like,
I'm going
to find out in a second.
One more by the looks of it.
Yeah, there we go. Well, touch and go wasn't. How much time was left on the clock when he got there? Like 2 seconds or something? So running to try to cancel the microwave before it goes beep. Vartanian, is that another penalty? Is that a second penalty this race? A third for the evening? Yikes.
Yeah, it's not going to be what he's wanted, and he's sped into the lane as well. So insult to injury there by the looks of it, and he's going to end up falling well down the order to the back of the field, more than likely as a result of that.
Here's Cook. He's got one more lap where he's got to try to defend from Oliver and Han, and he's feeling the pressure a little bit on this final tour of Snetterton 300. And they're going to actually start catching a bit of MX5 traffic as well. Could that factor in this battle for the podium positions in TCR? Podium positions in MX5, you can't separate them at all between Hydes, Burst, and Venables. So TCR, I think, gets a fair chunk of the love in today's broadcast, but that's not to say there hasn't been actually some great racing for those MX5s. Christopher Hen's dropped off this. It's just Cook and Oliver for second and third. Is that a brake bias adjustment? Something for Angus Cook as he comes from the Bentley straight into the left-hander and then into the right-hander. He's looking good.
Yes, looking very, very good is Jack Boyd, and it's looking like it's going to be another win and a podium as well to round out the night. So another very, very good finish for Jack Boyd to come home with the result he is, and Angus Cook is just going to hold on to second as well. And there is P2, he's happy with it.
Fantastic. Good clean stuff from Jack Boyd. Angus Cook holding on for second ahead of Aaron Oliver. Still kicking off for MX5s. He's found the handbrake as your race winner. Glenn Boyd's pipped Dylan DeBono at the line. But Venables and Burst, I don't think it's done yet. They got a parked car on the racing line. Doesn't trouble Caleb Hydes, but it really, really caught out Dylan Burst. Who's that? Have they run out of fuel with the extra lap?
That'd be Damon Woods by the look, who has indeed run out of fuel.
He's not out of the woods yet. Forget I said it. And this is your top three in MX5 completing their final lap. Venables was under a lot of pressure about a lap ago from Burst and properly held on like Hydes did at the end of race one. So that looks like it's going to be your podium for those guys.
And some very, very good results to come away with that win for Caleb Hydes, and Tame Venables with a very, very good drive to get a podium in race two. It's looking like Sean Doyle is hopefully going to get P4 here without no penalty this time around. So he's going to at least finish on the lead lap and in a position that he should have been finishing in.
There we go. Very good. Sam Layman, also in the MX5 class, also running out of fuel, I think I hear. So there's a few drivers who really got caught out by how short the safety car was, and then I guess how fast Jack Boyd was. There's Nick Skariev. He's gotten a position from Sam Layman, so he's up into 7th in class and one of the last drivers around. Still yet to take the checkered flag, but you can tell he will in a second with Anthony Connors in front of him.
Scary going to be the final car finishing that race as well, by the looks of it.
Yep. Race 2 of 2 in tonight's proceedings of Club Day Masters from Snetterton 300. Jack Boyd takes a podium in race 1 and the win in race 2, and the only driver to stand on both podiums this evening, so that is a good and consistent points haul for him. It's Angus Cook and Aaron Oliver, then Christopher Henn, Dylan DeBono, Glenn Boyd, Ivan Vantagiato, Jackson Rehana, Matthew Mcmillan, and Nico Mendez for the top 10 in that class. The last of the finishers proper in that class is Lee Harrison, Richard Brookfield, and Isaac Edwards. And then you get to our MX5 class.
And you're going to have Caleb Hydes winning that one with Venable second, Burst rounding out the podium. Sean Doyle fourth, fifth to Adam Sharp. Anthony Collins is going to come home in sixth with Nick Scariev in seventh. And Scariev going to be the final car finishing on the lead lap and crossing the line as well. And then you're going to have Layman, Edwards, Fraser, Paradiso, and Gutierrez to round out the field with the rest of your TCR field as well as retirees.
Yep, bit of carnage in the countryside for some of those. A lot of damage for some penalties for others. Those who raced clean, it was good results for Jack Boyd and Caleb Hydes, I think, clean sweeping the MX5s there as well. So that was a very strong performance because there was always someone on his tail in both races. Race 1, it was Dylan Burst. Race 2, it was Tane Venables. So he has done well to grab maximum points out of that class. Going to grab a word with a couple of our drivers from today's race. And I think we should go first. Race 1 winner Lee Harrison was there and now he's disappeared. How rude. How rude, Lee. Come back. So how about then race 2 winner Jack Boyd, and really touch and go on how many laps long that race was.
Yeah, I think a few people got caught out. I heard a few people on the mic saying they might have run out of fuel and they were fuel saving quite hard. So, yeah, fortunately for me, I just went by my fuel calculator and had about a litre float. So, yeah, it was okay for me and I just ran my own race.
What about race 1? There was a lot more pressure on you, I think, because race 2, you made the good restart and from there it looked clean sailing, but multi-class traffic now, decent turnout this evening. Race 1 would have been a bit hectic for you?
Yeah, it was. I mean, unfortunately, I got a good start and made my way up into first, and yeah, unfortunately made a little mistake, clipped the grass and yeah, gave away a few spots. But yeah, I mean, a lot of series don't race this track as well, so I think that was another big factor. I know I had to learn the config, so yeah, it was an interesting night of racing for sure, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And another good consistent points haul from you, standing on the podium both races, but not sharing the podium with any driver twice. Harrison Vantagiato really well in race 1, but race 2 it sort of fell apart for them.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate to see. I mean, I think the key to win this championship will be consistent results, just as last season. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Lee and Ivan. I mean, we were all having a really good race there, both in race 1 and race 2. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate, but looking forward to the next round. It's really competitive up there.
Look forward to seeing you there. Saw also a little bit of formation flying with yourself and your dad after the checkered flag. Is that going to be a photo that goes on the wall?
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully the series photographer can get a few good snaps of that, and maybe we'll chuck it up on Facebook and maybe even print it out, you know. So yeah, it's pretty cool. We got the Boyd Racing paint on the cars and I think they look pretty good. So yeah, it's pretty cool, and hopefully there's some good pics of it.
Congrats. See you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. How about our MX5 clean sweep winner as well. Caleb Hydes is with Cam Dance.
Yeah, double victory for you tonight, and very, very nice points haul for you.
Yeah, it was fun racing in the Mazda again, ripping around in Club Day Masters, and yeah, it was a successful night with 2 race wins on same points as Dylan on first now. Oh, actually, well, he got third. Actually, not yet. We should be on the same points, I believe. So yeah, good that we can be even, I guess, and we'll head into round 3 and have some fun.
Yeah, certainly was a lot of good battling going on. We did see some differential in pit stop time between race 1, between you two. Did you take a little bit too much fuel, or was it just more or less Dylan maybe just timed the pit stop a little bit better?
I took the same amount of fuel both the races. I believe he did as well, so maybe it was like better on pit entry or something. So yeah, I think that's only what it would be.
Yeah, very, very odd. Well, nevertheless, heading into round 3, it's looking like it's going to be a very, very close championship fight, and looking into the rest of the season as well, it's looking like it's going to be a very big scrap between yourself and Burst. It's next up going to be a very, very good round, hopefully. Are you looking forward to it at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the track is, but yeah, it should be alright. Me and Dylan Burst just come in here, have a bit of fun, and we definitely do have a lot of fun. Just rocking up Monday nights after school, just having a lot of fun, really. So yeah, looking forward to it, and the rest of the season should be close and should be a lot of fun.
Before we let go, just any shout-outs and any thanks you want to give?
Yeah, just a big thank you to the whole Iridium Motorsports team, team sponsors, my sponsor Pitbox.io, and everyone that puts the Club Day Masters on.
Oh, there you have it, David. A very, very happy MX5 winner, and I believe we're standing by with the man who finished P2 in the TCR class in race 2, Angus Cooker. Not too bad of a second race for you, sir, but not quite the race one that you probably would have hoped for.
Plenty of drama race 1. It was good fun though, plenty of door banging. I probably, in fairness, hung a car out to dry and then got served probably just as evenly. A little bit of a dive bomb, but that's what we're here for. A bit of door banging, a bit of touring car action, so can't complain. And then I don't know what happened in P2, but race 2, but to end up with P2, can't bloody believe it. Summit Sim Sports is here new to the series, and we got some good looking cars thanks to Flash graphics and Phantom Bitcoin and cryptocurrency indicators. So yeah, real excited, just real ecstatic.
Man, certainly not too bad of a night overall for your team. Now, Snetterton as a whole, a very, very technical track, and one that doesn't really, well, it's more underrated, I'd say, for a lot of series. Did you find it was really, really good for racing, and did you enjoy it at all?
I don't know. It's not a track that really, it flows, but it doesn't flow in a way that I think a driver enjoys. And especially in a front-wheel drive TCR car, the stop-start isn't really fun, and the back chicane under the bridge is just, yeah, you're holding on for dear life almost. But it lent to some pretty good racing actually in the end. So yeah, for me, the first race was almost a bit of a practice session in those race conditions to build up the pace, and then coming into race 2, had really good cold tyre pace, which really helped at both the start and the restart. But I feel I burnt out the fronts a fair bit, so I was struggling at the end there to hold on to the leader. Otherwise, it might have been a different story. I was trying to hold on, but yeah, just didn't have the overall pace, unfortunately, to do so. I'm just, real happy to be here, thanks to Club Day Masters and all the sponsors.
Well, obviously heading into the not the final round, sorry, round 3 and at Bathurst for the first enduro of the season. Thoughts and what to expect possibly?
Carnage, I think. If in an open field track like this where there's endless runoff, the amount of cars that were off the track today, or getting shoved a little bit, could imagine there'll be a few cars in the wall on lap 1, but I feel like everyone will have a bit more respect at Bathurst and a bit of a understanding of what happens. And it's also, being an enduro in the full hour, a different mindset too. In these sprint races, you've kind of got the safety car in the back of your mind where you can tack back onto the field. My teammate Jackson Rayhana and I in that race there had a really good result, so we're looking to take out the team's championship and kind of build on it, because we both had a few issues in both round 1 and race 1 today, and we had a pretty solid result there despite a few hindrances. So we've got a lot of I think a lot of expectation and a lot of excitement for the rest of the series.
Hopefully it's going to be a positive rest of the series. Well, before we let you go, just any shout outs and any thanks you want to give?
Thanks to Sienna for letting me race tonight. And hi, Mum and Dad.
Oh, there you go, David. A reasonably happy Angus cook, and I believe we're going to wrap this up now.
Yeah, we say goodbye Snetterton, we say goodbye Scary Tree, because that was Club Day Masters on SimSpeed. 2 action-packed races now in a multi-class format. And you heard it there, we're all looking forward to a week from now when we go racing again, 2 weeks from now, forgive me, when we go racing again in Club Day Masters, and you catch it here on SimSpeed TV, of course. David Haynes with Cam Dance alongside me, Jay Kennedy doing the production and the buttons and the cameras and all that such like. And from Club Day Masters and today's key sponsor, Automotive Towing South Australia, we want to say thanks for joining us. See you soon.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
This is very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go! Oh no!
That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?